Hi, this is Jerry King, and today I'm going to be talking about a little bit about Liu Ren and the four classes. So, one thing I was looking at was the configuration of the four classes, and it's something that's very trivial, something minor. If we look at, so basically, Liu Ren, the four classes, is one of the components of the whole chart, right? So you've got the heaven and earth plate, and then the four classes located here. Depends on where you want to put it. There's so many different ways. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you want it to picture it. It doesn't change the way you interpret it, where the symbols or the location of the plates go. See the three transmissions here. Sometimes you see it on right side, sometimes you see on the left side. I was just going online, checking other applications that I punched out. See, for example, you can see the four classes here, and you got the three transmissions here. And then on this one, oh, this becomes even messier where you have the heaven and earth plate on top, and then you got your four classes here, and your three transmissions, which is kind of awkward. It's kind of out of place here. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're using online. Like you can use this or this. Like it's not going to change the way you interpret it. The four classes is four classes. You can plot it whichever way you want. Same with the three transmission. You can just put it anywhere. You can put it above, underneath, like this one right here. You can see is clearly the three transmission looks confusing, but if you actually know how to configure and how to determine what symbols lies where, it doesn't really matter. So for example, here, I'm just gonna expand this and make this a little bit bigger. So the four classes, basically we use the day stem and the day branch. So for example, you see the jia right here, right? And then this is the day branch here. So it's a jia zhi day. So that's based out of the four pillars. And basically the stem represents the first class, and then afterwards you have your second class, third class, and your fourth class. The third class is always the day branch pillar. You can refer to these as pillar. You can also call it your first pillar, your second pillar, third pillar, and fourth pillar. On the other hand, if I look at this application, it looks completely weird because now I have the day stem here, and then you got your day branch here. So this is the day of, so this is a Ding Si day. So you got your day and your snake there, right? So why do we have it this way? Well, in Chinese, when when people write, sometimes they go, well, mostly they go from right to left, right? But in modern times, like when we're writing English, we usually go left to right, right? So so basically this is almost like going from left and then to right. So it to make a long story short, it does not matter. The key thing to note is that your day stem, which is your thing here, represents your first class. And then when you go all the way to the back, the end, this represents your fourth class. Okay. And the same here, your in this one, you got your first class here, or your first pillar, whatever name you want to call it. And then your fourth class or your fourth pillar at the end. Okay. So yeah, I just want to clarify that. And then so oh, I accidentally pressed this, but it doesn't matter. Uh things that I want to make a point out of is when we look at the classes, what do we use these for, right? So I was looking at a book. So I was reading some Chinese books about the classes themselves, and how people interpret the charts. So I have a number of books that are written in Chinese, and I was curious to see whether the methods are a little bit different, whether there's subtleties and so on and so forth. And what I noticed mainly, a lot of masters in their books, they don't focus on this that much. They don't focus on the four classes. That's fine. That is actually it really depends on the purpose, because when you're looking at for example, the end result, the three transmissions, these three right here, your yo, hi, cho, these three plus these gods, people pay more attention to these because you want to know the end result. So sometimes people don't care because the focus of the four classes is mainly on your current situation and connections with certain things. However, you could use the four classes to determine, for example, let's say if someone wants to know whether it's a boy or a girl, it's very clear sometimes to use these to determine whether it's a boy or a girl. For example, if let's say you want to know whether it is a boy, if there is a control above, so this one is the opposite, so it's not controlling. But if let's say the control, there's more control element. So let's just assume, um, let's say there's a lot of fire above, and then you got a lot of metal underneath. So basically, they would say that the chances of having a male is much higher. And then the opposite, right? If there's more controlling element, the bottom controlling the top, they say that it's the likelihood of having a female is much higher. So this is one example of using this the four classes. Another one is, for example, if you want to look at, let's say, your situation where the problem actually came from. So let's say you're at work and you have issues at work and you want to know, oh, okay, someone wants to know, okay, whether the problem is internal or external, whether I'm going to have problems, like let's say my business, whether I'm going to have problems with my employees if I own or run this business, or whether I would have more client related problems, right? So in general, if the controlling element is underneath in these four classes, if you have, let's say, more control from underneath and up top, the problem lies from internal. And the opposite is true if you have more control on top. It's almost like four pillars, right? Where the top represents the outside and you have your interior in the bottom. However, there's also another way of looking at it. So that's why it's so complicated sometimes, because it could be confusing. So the day branch is the snake, right? And the day stem is the ding. So now the other way of looking at it is, okay, your internal, let's say you're looking at your health. The internal, the interior things that we look at are from the third, so your third class and your fourth class. And then anything that is external is related to the first class and the second class. This is also very easy to comprehend because the ding represents the stem, so it's the outside. So everything here, the first and second class, is related to the exterior, right? Because the stem is related to also the high and the yo as well. If you know how to configure the four classes, you'll understand why I'm saying this. And the same goes to this because the branch is the snake. So that's interior, right? And all these are interrelated too. So something that's interior. So let's say if you're looking for issues within your health, is it coming from your interior or exterior? That's another usage of the four classes. However, you don't usually get these types of questions, right? These days and in modern times, people want to know about whether, let's say, their investment's gonna go well. Are they gonna make money? Is this job good for them? Then you don't look at the four classes, right? Some people might just skip this completely and just look at, oh, okay, you're born in such and such a year. Let's say you're born in an ox year. Oh, there's a pig underneath. So the ox is controlling the pig right here. that means Earth is controlling water. So current situation or possibility of making money, and it is located in the San Tran as well, the three transmissions. But I don't want to talk about the three transmissions right now. Our focus right now is here, just to keep it simple. It does not, first thing I want to reiterate, it does not matter if it is here. So if I bring that out, back again here. So the stem is here or the stem is on the right side. It does not matter, okay? As long as you know that the stem is the first class, okay? Another thing I want to quickly touch upon is Fu Yin and Fan Yin within the classes. It's very easy to spot Fu Yin pattern. So basically most Fu Yins, they have the same symbols. So for example, this one right here, you got all oxes, and I should say oxen because it's plural. But yeah, all the ox here. And most of the time when you're in Fu Yin, you usually get a punishment in the three transmissions as well. So I'm just trying to simplify here. So Fu Yin, very similar to let's say your Qi Men Dun Jia. Immediately you think about, oh, things will happen slowly, things may not happen. It's a slow process. It does not mean that Fu Yin is bad, okay? Just because it's happening slow. Sometimes you want a slow process, like investment purposes. Let's say you're buying a property. Sometimes it's better to have the property price go up slowly rather than constantly skyrocketing. It depends on your objective, basically, okay? And then I'm just going to quickly touch through Fan Yin. Just looking for my slide here. So reversed. So Fan Yin has more to do with the clashing. Okay, so just like your Qi, just like four pillars of destiny, same thing. You have your clashes. So usually the clash is in your second pillar, third pillar, and your fourth pillar, your second, third, and fourth class. So usually you would have clashes here. So sometimes when there's a clash, like for example, if we're talking about like process, so we're looking at the process in the four classes. The four classes in general, like it might signify like a situation is going to happen fast or is currently happening at a rapid pace, right? So that's one explanation. So it depends on what your purpose and what you're actually looking for, like in terms of your divination. And also when we're looking at Fan Yin, we see the heaven and the earth, it's in complete conflict, right? It's in complete clash because the snake is on top of the pig. Over here, you got the pig on top of the snake, and then you got the rat on top of the horse on top of the rat, and so on and so forth. So as long as you understand, okay, what's the earth plate and this is the heaven plate that's on top of the earth plate, then you can see right away, oh, okay, this is a clash and this is a Fan Yin situation. So sometimes similar to Fu Yin, it does not mean that it's going to be a bad outcome. Fu Yin and Fan Yin could also be a good outcome. Sometimes you want things to happen rapidly, right? It's like you're trading stocks, you want to know right away, okay, should I go in or out? And Fan Yin might be actually the right solution for you to decide whether you want to go in or you want to sell a stock, or whether the stock is going to move fast or slow. So that's another explanation. I'm just trying to think, what else do I need to cover here? I think that's it for today. A really short clip. Yeah, the one main point I wanted to make, where I'm putting together these video course materials right now, and I just want to clarify with whoever's going to be watching these videos, the videos in the future, that it does not matter whether you have your first class on the left side or the right class. And one more thing of note on these classes: the bottom does not we treat it as stationary, non-movement. The top is always moving; it always changes. So if you understand the configuration and construction of like the heaven and the earth plate, it is very easy to understand. Okay, these don't move, these move, right? So when you take the ding and you have the yo on top, then you have to look at, oh, okay, we place the yo underneath, okay? And then we have to look at where the yo is. The yo is located here. Oops. So the yo is here, and then we place the high on top. Very simple. And then on a snake day, we look at what's on top of the snake. You have the goat, you place the goat here, and you move the goat down here, and you have the yo here. So that's why you have these two symbols are always the same. Okay, it doesn't change, right? Just like on the left side, you have see these two. Oops, I don't want to use that one. I'll use this and this. If you notice, these two are the same. And then we got, oops, I nearly pressed the wrong button here. And then you have the yin, yin. They're the same. So you always have two symbols that are represented underneath on the earth plate as well. So just keep in mind that these don't move. These are changeable. And in Chinese books, they always say, or I prefer to use Cantonese. We call it Gong Sheng San, and then this is Ji Sheng San. So that means the stem's God, what God is on top of the stem. Ji Sheng San, what God is on top of their branch. Sheng San. These are all gods. They treat it as heavenly figures, heavenly objects, just like the heaven plate, heavenly objects. So these are basically the technicalities behind it. It's very important to understand it if you're studying from a Chinese basis. Just remember, this is your first class, always STEM underneath, and then we call it Gong Sheng San, your God on top of your STEM, and Ji Sheng San, right? So yeah, because I do have some clients in Chinese, and they're curious, why do we call it gods on top of why do we call it Gongsheng San, Jisheng San, right? Why do we call it that? It's because these are heavenly objects, right? Heavenly bodies. And then they would ask, oh, okay, how about these? Aren't these gods? Well, these are technically what we call celestial beings or gods, and they all operate on the heaven side. That's why we have Tinyan Day. You got your heaven and your man and your earth. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Hopefully you found this useful. If you like this video, hit the like button and feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll be talking a lot more in the future about Liu Ren and hopefully more videos about the four pillars of destiny. Okay, until then, we'll chat again.